Since the last election, immigration reform has been getting a lot of press in the national media and certainly on Capitol Hill. Certainly the Senate is involved in the drafting of a long and, in my opinion, a bill that's going to be very, very difficult to work. On the House side, progress is going somewhat slower, but it is progressing. There are some issues that remain as significant obstacles. But let's look at the country which is the most welcoming to immigrants and the country which allows the greatest number of people to immigrate every year. Why not look at that country as a model? And that country would be the United States of America. Upwards of 1 million people a year are allowed to immigrate legally into the United States. That is more than any other country in the civilized world. The United States has always been a welcoming nation, and I expect that will continue in the future. The question is, does the United States have a right to protect its sovereign border, to define its sovereign border, and to define the criteria by which people are allowed to come in this country? The fact of the matter is there are people here that have not gone through the normal process, whether they came across the border without proper documentation or whether they overstayed a visa after arriving in this country. There are people who are living outside the system. Current discussion centers around, will there be some type of amnesty for these individuals? At the present time, I just do not see that happening, at least on the House side, and I have no idea what the Senate will ultimately do. But let's remember this. In the context of the United States, we have been the welcoming and generous nation with visas and with citizenship in the past, and I expect that will continue in the future. We do need to reform procedures which are not working. We do need to establish the level of security on the border and the interior of this country, which every American citizen relies and in fact deserves. We have to allow employers to know when someone presents for work whether they are legally allowed to work in this country. Employment verification systems such as E-Verify have been controversial in the past, but they are needed in order to enforce our laws and keep the problem from becoming much worse. We are the most welcoming of all nations, but our laws must also be respected and enforced.